well take a good look at this face, because it's the last time you'll be seeing it in today's video. For one reason or another, I've had to make this video today without filming myself, and it's not because I've had some kind of horrible accident, it's just circumstance, I'm afraid. So you'll have to live with it. We're going to look at some Part 1 type activities from the proficiency exam taken from ESLLounge.com. Again, that fabulous website. And I guess let's just get straight into it.
So we're back on ESLLounge.com today, and we've got some Part 1 type activities from the proficiency exam. Obviously, in the official exam, you would have a short text with 8 gaps, but here we're just going to have exercises with 8 individual sentences with a gap and 4 possible options, just like in the exam. Okay, so number 1, most of the examination is written, but there is also an part which I am really worried about. Well, any of you that are about to take a Cambridge exam should know that the spoken part of the exam is normally called the oral part. So hopefully there shouldn't have been too many problems there. Okay, let's move on to number 2, I guess. I thought the teacher would be really angry, but he was pretty in his punishment of us, actually. Lax, loophole, lenient, or loose? Well, this one's at least making me think a little bit, I suppose. Lax kind of sounds almost like incompetently not strict enough. Loophole is, we talk about a legal loophole. For example, if you want to avoid paying tax, then you can pay a very good accountant who can find you legal loopholes in order to pay less tax. Lenient sounds like you're not too strict in the sense of it comes from benevolence of some kind, mercy. And loose, again, kind of almost sounds like out of control, slightly incompetent. So I think the correct answer here is clearly lenient, but I guess we'll find out. But yeah, I think I will check these at the end, definitely. Number 3, we replaced the broken vase, or vase if you're American. We replaced the broken vase with a very similar one that we found the next day in the market, and they were the wiser. Okay, this is an expression. They returned when they returned from their vacation. They were not the wiser, none the wiser, less the wiser, nothing the wiser. Well, the expression which means that they had no idea is none the wiser. They were none the wiser. They had absolutely no idea what had happened. Okay, good. Let's move on to number 4. Brimming, pouring, stewing, seething. So all to do with anger in a figurative sense. With anger, Mr. Jensen stormed into the local tax office and demanded to see someone about his case, which had dragged on for nearly 3 years. Well, the brim is actually the top edge of like a cup or something. So something is brimming, it is almost full. So I think you can imagine what the correct answer is going to be here. Pouring is obviously what we do with a liquid. Stewing is when something is slowly cooking, right? We make a stew by cooking it for hours on the stove. Something is slow cooking, so something is slowly getting hotter or angrier, figuratively. Seething, something is boiling, it's really hot. But the correct answer here, I think, would be brimming with anger. Seething, I don't think you would say seething with anger. I think you would just say he was seething. I think it's brimming with anger, but again, I guess we'll find out. I'm actually doubting myself now. It could be seething with anger. Do we say seething with anger? I don't know. I would normally say seething. I wouldn't say seething with anger. Okay, anyway, let's move on to number 5. I never had a moment to myself, Tony. I never looking at your broken radio. Sorry. I never got round to, got over, found out about, got away with. So I was at no point able to make time to look at your radio. So the expression here is when you make time to do something is you get round to something. So I never got round to looking at your broken radio. Yep, that looks good to me. Okay, let's move on to number 6 then. It says, we must have wasted half the morning at that post office. There were only 3 open, and the rest of the staff were just sat around smoking and reading newspapers. I was furious. Well, this must have been written decades ago, of course. There were only 3 stalls, counters, tills, or booths open. Oh, well, this again is making me think. I think a stall is in a market, so I wouldn't say a stall. A counter, kind of like a desk, yes. I think I would say probably go for counter. Till is where you pay for something, so it's more like in a supermarket. And a booth, well, what's that? Like a telephone booth, or in a cafe, a booth where you sit on a bench at a table, an enclosed area. I'm pretty sure it's counters, but as I say, I guess we'll see. Number 7. Wow, that was delicious, Marnie. I have to hand it to you, praise it to you, reward it to you, allow it to you. Yours is the best tiramisu in the world.
Well, certainly Marnie is being praised. I don't think he is being rewarded with anything. And I suppose in a very formal way, this person is allowing something, admitting to something. But no, the expression here is, I have to hand it to you. If you hand it to someone, it means you admit. You admit something. Okay, last one in this exercise. Obviously, we're going to have a look at a few more. There's 10. So I guess we're going to look at more than I thought we were going to today. Eduscope is the new which advises the government about new policies in education. It's the new ministry, it's the new party, think tank, brainstorm. Okay, maybe this last sentence is important as well. Most of the members are former teachers or school administrators. Well, Eduscope really doesn't sound like a ministry, does it? And we don't create new ministries all the time, of course. We like to keep government small, don't we? But anyway, new party. No, I don't think you would invent a party to advise your own party. Brainstorm is what you might do in a business meeting, to get some ideas. Maybe the boss or the team leader would stand at the front with a marker pen and ask for ideas and write them down on the board. But no, what we call an advisory body to government is a think tank. Yeah, okay, so let's move on to number 9. Archaeology students often go on a lot of field trips, apprenticeships, seminars, conferences, to get practical experience of archaeological digs happening in their area. Well, of course you can get practical experience from apprenticeships. They go on a lot of apprenticeships. I don't think that sounds right just from a logical standpoint. You do an apprenticeship as well. I don't think you go on an apprenticeship. They go to seminars or they go to conferences, but that would be really for more theoretical things than practical things. No, I think they go on a lot of field trips. Yeah, Don't think there's any doubt about that one. Okay, number 10, the last one in this exercise. My new secretary doesn't even know handwriting, calligraphy, shorthand, graphology. It takes her an age to copy down a letter that I dictate to her. Well, this was written in the 19th century, or well, anyway. She doesn't know handwriting. Well, you imagine she'd know handwriting. She's clearly writing something. Calligraphy, I think, is the style of writing. No, the sort of the font, the shape of the letters. No, am I right about that? Graphology. Graphology, that's something to do with how people write. No, I think this is what secretaries typically used to know how to do. Obviously not so much nowadays. Now everything's so advanced technologically, but this is known as shorthand. She doesn't even know shorthand. So, feeling reasonably confident here. Let's see if I got any of them wrong. There's no way of knowing. It says I've got them all wrong. Let's see. So I think the only one I was really doubting about maybe was number 4, and possibly number 6. Though I don't think so really. But number 4, what did I say? I said A. And 6, I said B. I think the rest of them, I'm fairly certain. So 4 says the correct answer is D, and 6. Oh, sorry. Yeah, 4 says the correct answer is D, and 6 is B. So let's have a look at that again. 4. The correct answer is seething with anger. Well, fair enough. And 6, it says the correct answer is booths. Well, possibly, I suppose. I think we did mention, of course, a booth is kind of like an enclosed area. I suppose it is technically, maybe, I suppose, yes, in a post office, you get those kind of plastic guarded areas where the staff will attend to customers. So I suppose you call it a booth. I'm pretty sure I'd always call it a counter. But anyway, and then seething with anger. I've heard people say that you're seething when they're angry, but I don't know. I would have thought you could say brimming with anger as well. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone can let me know in the comments. I think I should just clarify at this point before we move on that all of the other answers were not incorrect. It just says that they're all incorrect because you're supposed to select A, B, C, or D, but there is no way of selecting them. The only thing I can do is write the answer in. So it says they're all incorrect. All of the rest of them were correct. So I got 8 out of 10 there. I'm still a little bit doubtful as to whether the others were wrong, to be honest. But anyway, I'm going to stop crying. Let's move on. Let's have a look at another 10 here. So Harry thought about betting $200 on a horse called Lucky Harry in the year's biggest horse race, but lost his at the last moment. Fortunately, it fell at the first hurdle. Right, so he lost his head. It means he kind of lose control of the situation. He lost his nerve, which means got nervous and decided he couldn't go through with it, couldn't do it. Lost his mind, went insane. No, I don't think he went insane. Hopefully, poor Harry. Lost his heart. No, I'm pretty sure he lost his nerve. Yeah, no doubt about that one, I don't think. Okay, let's move on to number 2. I know the truth will finally, and when it does, he who is guilty will be made to pay. The truth will finally out. Well, it will come out. Emerge. That sounds pretty good. Will be revealed. Will arise. That doesn't quite sound right. The truth will finally emerge, I think. Good. Yeah, let's move on to number 3. The company's financial was so serious that investors were warned that they could lose all their money. The company's financial plight, dead end, impasse, or breakdown. Plight is a dire situation. So their financial plight, problems. I'm pretty sure it's plight. A dead end is when something's going nowhere, but their financial dead end was so serious. No, a dead end is what it is. It's an absolute term. An impasse is when a decision cannot be reached, an agreement cannot be reached, rather. So that doesn't quite sound right. Their breakdown, no, not quite right, is it? No, the correct collocation here would be the company's financial plight. Yeah, again, feeling fairly confident, but you never know. So let's have a look at number 4. Are you doing this English course with an idea, vocation, intention, view to getting a better job, or not? With an idea to getting? No. With the idea of getting, maybe. With a vocation, I guess, wouldn't really need the complement. It wouldn't really need the rest of the sentence, because that would mean to get a job. With an intention of getting another job, a better job, yeah. No, the expression here is with a view to getting a better job. Yeah, it has to be view because of the collocation. No, a view to getting a better job. Okay, number 5. Let's continue. If you are fighting, struggling, battling, straining, all very similar words, so much with the new calculus course, why don't you consider doing a few private lessons? Well, I don't think the person is fighting with the course. Struggling, finding something difficult. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be struggling. Battling, again, I don't think they're doing battle with the course. Straining, well, you can be straining yourself, you can be straining your eyes, you can be straining your brain, but no, I think if you are struggling so much with the new calculus course, yeah, no doubt about that one either. But let's see, number 6, it says, nonetheless, nevertheless, regardless, notwithstanding. Your continued late arrival at work, I have been pleased with your work here. Okay, so it looked more difficult initially when I looked at the options, but nonetheless and nevertheless are essentially interjections to start a new sentence, I think. So you would say, you keep arriving late to work. Nonetheless, nevertheless, I'm pleased with your work, right? Regardless of your continued late arrival, I think you could say. But yeah, the correct answer here would be notwithstanding your continued late arrival at work. So it means apart from that, apart from your late arrival at work, I have been pleased with your work here. Okay, let's move on to number 7. Ever since he was bitten on the leg by Harry's dog, Harry's back again, he has walked with a stagger, mumble, limp, fumble. Okay, stagger. Stagger might be what you do when you are injured in the moment, right? So if you've just been attacked or stabbed or something like that, you might stagger into a bar and shout for help. No, you're struggling in the moment because of the anxiety and the pain. So I don't think it's a stagger. That would be pretty dramatic if this poor person has been walking around, staggering around for years. No, it's what you do when you're clearly in imminent danger and stress. So no, I don't think it's stagger. Mumble is what you do when you don't. Yeah, when you don't speak very clearly, is mumbling, so I don't think that's quite right. You don't walk with a mumble. You walk with a limp. Yeah, absolutely. You walk with a limp when you have a chronic injury in your leg or hip or knee or ankle, one of your joints. You might walk with a limp. Fumble is what people do when they're using their hands to try and do something a little bit complex. I don't know, maybe you're fumbling around trying to undo your coat or open your purse or something like that. Okay, let's move on to number 8. By 2 a.m, the number of people at the party had subsided, dwindled, lessened, deteriorated to almost 0, and we left 2. I think something uncountable can subside. I don't think a number of something countable can subside to 0. I do think that a number of people at a party can dwindle to almost 0, yes. Had lessened to almost 0. That kind of sounds transitive. No, one lessens something else, I think. Had deteriorated means it had reduced in quality. So no, I think the correct answer here is dwindled. Yeah, definitely. The number of people had dwindled to almost 0. Okay, number 9. Once we knew he didn't take kindly, fondly, nicely, warmly to being imitated, we stopped immediately. Yeah, when somebody doesn't take something very well, they don't like it, we say that they don't take kindly. Once we knew he didn't take kindly to being imitated, we stopped immediately. Okay, so the last one on this exercise then. The Prime Minister has said that a tiny, unruly segment, division, element, portion within the otherwise peaceful demonstration was to blame for the trouble which followed. Oof, this one really is difficult. I don't think division is right. Tiny unruly division. Tiny unruly portion within element or segment. I think I would say segment, but I'm definitely going to have to check this one. We would certainly talk about segments of society causing problems, so I think you could probably say a segment within a peaceful demonstration. Those peaceful demonstrations which are so often so unpeaceful, but yeah, I think it's going to be a segment. I'll definitely have to check that one. Are there any more that I need to check here? I think I was fairly sure about the others. Yeah, kindly, dwindled. I didn't actually write anything here, did I? The answer was limp. So there we have that one. Notwithstanding, yeah, fairly certain about that one. Struggling, yeah, view, plight, emerge, nerve. Yeah, I'm fairly sure about all of them except that last one, which is segment. So I've said A in 10. Let's check the answers. Number 10 says it was C again. Element. Well, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah, a tiny unruly element within the otherwise peaceful demonstration. I'd like to know the reasoning as to why it can't be segment, to be honest. Not entirely sure why that is wrong, but certainly is the one that I was doubting about. I wonder if anyone can clear that up. Well, 3 wrong out of 20 so far, so not a great day for me. Let's do another one. Now, I must insist, because we've often had inconsistencies on ESLLounge.com in the past where we debate the answers. So if anyone can give me a reason as to why the ones I've got wrong so far are wrong, then I'm all ears. Anyway, number 1 on the third exercise here. Okay, so the fish will already give this soup enough salt, so you won't need to add much. Maybe just a Sip, drop, pinch, grain. Well, we talk about a pinch of salt. Absolutely no doubt about that. You would drink a sip of water, you would have a drop of something liquid. A grain, well, is one grain of, a cereal like wheat or something like that. But anyway, let's move on. Number 2, stop prodding, banging, pinching, slapping me in the back in the back with your finger, please. If you want something, just ask like everyone else. Well, I think a lot of the time children, when they want something, they will tend to, I don't think they'll tend to bang you in the back or slap you in the back or pinch you in the back. That would be quite antisocial, but they might prod you. They might stick their finger in your back a few times to get your attention. So I think the answer is prodding. Yeah, no doubt about that one. Okay, number 3. A good teacher must be an inventive, an innovative, a reformative, or a rebellious one, always prepared to introduce new ideas and technology into the classroom. Well, somebody who's always bringing in new ideas and new technology, I think, is innovative. No? Maybe it's good to be inventive as well, but yeah, if you're always trying new ideas, I think you're innovative. No, you're innovating. Yeah, so let's move on to number 4. Having spent too much time playing basketball in his spare time, Roger now found he was falling. The other students in the other subjects at school, he was falling down, he was falling back, he was falling behind, he was falling over. Well, yeah, absolutely. It's like in a race. If you start to slow down, the others get ahead of you and you fall behind. Again, no doubt there, I don't think. Yeah, he started falling behind. Okay, number 5. Tying all of the little pieces of string together to make the long chain was a slow process which took us over 6 days in all. A slow, laborious process? That sounds pretty good. Slow, employed process? No. Workman-like process? Well, maybe, but I still think laborious sounds better. Conscientious is how you would describe someone who can work for a long time without getting tired. So no, I think it's laborious, definitely. Yeah, laborious. That came into my head before I looked at the options. So yeah. Oops, I accidentally misspelt that. Let's move on. Number 6. Due to heavy snow and high winds, the Bishop Mountain Nature Park will be inaccessible. Exclusive, remote, elusive for at least the next few days. Well, I think it will be impossible to access it, so it will be inaccessible. I don't think it's going to be exclusive to anyone. Maybe it's always remote. That means that it's far away from civilization, I suppose, far away from people. Elusive, as in it's hard to see it. Yeah, it's clearly inaccessible. Good. Number 7 then. I have done more than my fair of work. Now I am having a rest. Yeah. Fair portion, fair ration, fair share, fair division. Yeah, absolutely all very similar words, but the collocation here, the expression is, I have done my fair share. Okay, number 8 on the 3rd task. It says, with the new bridge open across the estuary, the old car ferry was made redundant, unemployed, retired, extinct. Well, it was retired. I don't think it ever was employed, because you don't pay a piece of machinery to work. Well, it certainly wasn't made extinct. It didn't become extinct. It's not a dinosaur. No, it was made redundant. It was made surplus to requirements. Yeah, if something is redundant, it is no longer needed. No? Okay, number 9. When I say I want I want you to be here at 6 o'clock. I mean 6 o'clock. On the edge, at the moment, on the dot, in detail. You cannot be late under any circumstances. So if you think of a clock, it has a lot of dots around the edge. So I want you to be here at 6 o'clock. I mean 6 o'clock. On the dot. On the dot, exactly that time, yeah. There is no question about that one. Okay, and the last one here. It was 238 years ago on this own, absolute, very real day that the town was founded. Yeah, again, no doubt about this one. I don't think I have to check any of the answers in this one. It was 238 years ago on this very day. On this very day that the town was founded. Okay. I guess let's have a look at another one. Okay, so the spacecraft hurled through, blasted, orbited into space, and then spent 3 days getting to the moon. Well, yeah, we often talk about spacecrafts and rockets and things. They can be hurled, they can be launched, they can't throw into space. No, throw is a transitive verb. They orbit once they're in space, I suppose. Perhaps they can orbit the Earth. But no, the spacecraft blasted into space. Blast, obviously, being what is given off from an explosion of some kind. And, of course, there is quite a big explosion when we set off a spacecraft. Okay, let's have a look at number 2. It says, new drugs need to be tested for years to see if there are any long-range, long-term, long-gone, long-felt effects which could be harmful. Long-range might be what you would, how you would describe a missile. If it's, North Korea developing long-range missiles to attack the West. Long-term, I think, yeah, it means effects which will be chronic in nature. So I'm pretty sure it's long-term. Long gone means that things finished a long time ago. Long felt, well, possibly, but no, I think the correct answer here is long term. Okay, let's move on to number 3. So far, so good, I think. The opposition protests against the government. Now, oh no, sorry, right, I'm reading that as a verb and it's actually a noun. The opposition protests against the government now threaten to get out of and the security forces are likely to make arrests around the country today. They threaten to get out of reach, out of kilter, out of hand, or out of the ordinary. Well, if something is out of reach, you can't reach it, fairly obviously. If something is out of kilter, it means that it doesn't agree with another thing. No, it doesn't fit. So again, that doesn't quite sound right. I think what we mean to say here is out of control or out of hand, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's out of hand. The correct answer here. Okay, let's move on. Number 4. The police, convinced of the suspect's guilt, greatly convinced, enough convinced, powerfully, utterly convinced, began to follow him covertly 24 hours a day. Yeah, okay, so greatly convinced, well, I suppose they could be enough convinced. Yeah, they could be convinced enough. Not really. Powerfully convinced, no. They were completely convinced. They were utterly convinced. They were utterly convinced of the suspect's guilt. Yeah, no doubt about that one. Number 5. The room fell silent when Johnson, unaware of the couple's history, brought about, brought in, brought up, brought off the subject of divorce. Well, when you start talking about something, a subject, you bring it up. So Johnson, in this case, brought up the subject of divorce, which was a bit awkward because I guess the couple were previously married. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look at number 6. I suppose I always felt a certain amount of jealousy towards Elvin, who was always such a young man. Well thought about, well thought up, well thought through, well thought of. Well, I suppose if you feel jealous, you probably feel jealous because other people admire this young man. So I think he must have been a well thought of young man. If someone is well thought of, they have a good reputation. People think well of them. Thought about, well, I don't think that's anything to be jealous of, that people think about you. Thought up, well, invented. Thought through. Well, no, a plan can be well thought through. Well thought through, thoroughly thought through. There's a word for you to pronounce, an expression. Okay, number 7. I can't stand opera. I can't even take, bring, give, bring, make. I said bring out of order 3 times. I can't even myself to listen to 5 minutes of it on a CD. I can't even. So you could say make myself listen, but make myself to listen? No. Give myself, take myself to listen doesn't sound right. I can't even bring myself to listen to 5 minutes on a CD. We say that we can't bring ourselves to do something. It almost sounds like you're having an out-of-body experience. No, and you're trying to drag yourself to do something, and you can't even do that. It means you really hate something. Okay, and there's only 8 in this one. Okay, ESLlounge.com. In all of your inconsistencies, we love you. 8, then. So maybe this would be a good place to stop. Don't worry about those 2 rowing. They have a... Oh, no, not rowing. No, they're not. They're not in a boat. No, in this case, they are rowing, though it is spelt the same. Don't worry about those 2 rowing. They have a long history, stretching, lying, returning, coming back to when they were at college together. I think they even enjoy arguing. So, yeah, it goes right back into their history. They have a long history, stretching back to when they were at school together. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt there, but I've said that many times. Like I said, if you disagree with anything I've said, if you can tell me why I got those 3 answers wrong, which are the only 3 I did doubt about, but can't really see why my answers are wrong, well, let me know in the comments. If not, well, goodbye. We're finished for today. See you in the next one.